One of the problems with recruiting for investment banking is not the knowledge or skills you acquire, but the access to talk with real investment bankers to put your best foot forward. Our sponsor, WSO Academy, can provide those connections with 60 head mentors who are finance professionals at top firms like Goldman, Centerview, and JP Morgan. Imagine being able to get on the phone within 24 hours with one of the Academy's 1,300 mentors right before a critical interview. Get on the waitlist for WSO Academy today by clicking the link in the show notes or by visiting wallstreetoasis.com/academy. All right. Welcome to Investment Banking Insights. My name is Alex Mason, and I am your host. This is the show dedicated to helping you learn both the technical and non-technical aspects of the investment banking process. And yes, you are in the right place. If you're looking for that knowledge, trying to level up, and especially if you're coming from a non-financial background like myself, you are definitely in the right place because I'm trying to understand all of these things and explain them to you in a way that just makes sense, right? It's just sometimes it's hard when you're learning a new field. You have to learn the vocabulary of that field before you can dig deeper into the concepts. And that's what I'm trying to do for you. Now, if you've been with me so far through the first 64 episodes, you know that we've been covering a lot of great stuff. We've been covering accounting questions. We've been covering enterprise value, equity value questions. We've been covering valuation in detail, covering all the fundamentals. And now we're going back to accounting. Let's go ahead and dig into some more of these accounting concepts. We took a little bit of a break for a few dozen episodes, but now we're back. So today's question is, what happens in the financial statements when inventory goes up by $10 and assuming that you pay with cash? So remember, what is inventory? Inventory is a good that is ready to be sold by the company. So it's sitting there on the balance sheet of the company and it's ready to be sold. So what happens when inventory goes up by $10? What happens? And remember, with these kinds of accounting questions, it always helps to work your way through them systematically. Step one, go through the income statement, then go through the cash flow statement, then go through the balance sheet. Very simple. One after another, one step after another. So let's start with the income statement. Okay, so nothing is affected here because nothing was really sold. Inventory goes up by $10, but we didn't sell that inventory yet. So nothing really changes. If you happen to sell this inventory, the costs associated with it would be reflected in the cost of goods sold on the income statement, but that's not the case here under the assumption of this question. So remember that the income statement is driven by sales and of all the expenses associated with sales. So if inventory is sold, it shows up as an operating expense or as a cost of goods sold on the income statement, but nothing happens here. Okay, so now let's move on to the cash flow statement. Here, operating cash flow goes down $10 because, hey, we had to buy this inventory. We had to use cash, right? And we're assuming we pay in cash. So in this case, we have a cash outflow of our operating cash flow. And then, so the inventory cash flow does not change, or sorry, not inventory cash flow, the investing cash flow, rather. Investing cash flow does not change. Financing cash flow does not change. So the net change for the whole cash flow statement is down $10. So that tells us what's happening with the cash flow statement. Now, moving on to the balance sheet. Remember that an item that decreases cash flow on the cash flow statement has to correspond to an increase for an item on the asset side of the balance sheet. So that's the case here because the company purchased inventory, so assets go up by $10. And we also know that cash decreased, right? We spent $10, and so that also shows up on the asset side as well. So cash goes down $10 and inventory goes up $10. Those are both assets. Now, as far as net income affecting shareholders' equity here on the balance sheet, Remember, there was no change to net income because the income statement wasn't affected at all. So shareholders' equity doesn't change at all. And we know that our liabilities don't change at all in this case. So the balance sheet balances just from the changes on the asset side of the balance sheet. And that is it. That's it. So running through this one more time, what happens when inventory goes up by $10, assuming you pay with cash? Well, to start with the income statement, there's no changes because nothing was sold and inventory doesn't affect, just because we have a change in inventory, it doesn't affect the income statement. Moving on to the cash flow statement, we have a cash outflow in the operating cash flow section of $10. No other sections of the cash flow statement are affected, so the overall change in cash flow is negative $10. Move that over to the balance sheet. On the asset side, cash goes down by $10 because the inventory was paid for, but inventory on the asset side of the balance sheet increases by $10 because now we have more inventory. Liabilities, no change. Shareholders' equity, no change. The balance sheet balances because we have negative 10 and plus 10, which evens out to zero. So that is the answer to the question. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm excited to dig into some more accounting questions with you. We're going to be looking at kind of a multi-layered series of questions here in the next few episodes, and I'm excited to get into it because there's some great concepts here. But that's what I got for you today. This has been Investment Banking Insights, and I'll see you next time.